We are bracing for a pullback. I know that's entirely different from what we've been talking about in the last few videos, and although we are still very bullish in 2024, we do expect a pullback here in towards all-time highs. My name is Hamilton. I'm here at the Trading Initiative. If you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, and comment below, and let's get into it. So as we all know, markets, although they go up over time, they don't go up in a straight line, especially parabolic moves. So we look at things like semiconductors. This is a damn near parabolic move. We look at names like Nvidia. This is damn near a parabolic move. We look at AMD. This is damn near a parabolic move. If you have never seen what happens to the backside of parabolic moves, look no further than these crypto coins, right? Or crypto miners rather. Mara, Riot, Coinbase, etc. Parabolic moves typically end up with a crash afterwards. Now, that doesn't necessarily completely destroy the trend. As a matter of fact, looking at coin here, we are still hitting a series of higher highs and higher lows. So this is still a primary uptrend. But if you bought at any point within the last few sessions of coin, well, you're down pretty big. What's the difference between that and some of the semi names? Not a whole lot, at least in terms of short-term price action. We expect it's going to correlate with this pullback in all-time highs. So we've been speculating inside of TTI since the middle of November that once we actually got the breakout, it would be a violent breakout on some relatively high volume, cause a bunch of shorts to come into the market and get squeezed at that all-time high, which we're starting to see, right? We're seeing that squeeze over the last few sessions, but now momentum is starting to slow. A little bit of a divergence here in the RSI, which shows that maybe the buying momentum to the upside is starting to wane. And we do think that there's an opportunity within the next week or two to look for a pullback in the market. Yes, not only SPY, but the Qs as well. We'll go through that in a second. Let me show you something really quick. If we look at this from a weekly standpoint, if you're technical traders, what's like TA 101 when it comes to flipping resistance into support, right? You get a breakout, and what do you expect? How does that resistance actually turn into support? Well, it gets turned into a support. I have no idea why this goes crazy on the monthly. It gets turned into a support when it comes back and retests the previous level. So we do expect price to come back and retest the previous level. I don't think it's going to be as clean as just coming back and retesting the 480 area and SPY dropping down about 2%. I think it's going to be kind of a nasty pullback. We'll go into exactly why in a second, but just from a technical standpoint, when you get breaks up and over horizontal levels, it's reasonable to assume that there's going to be a pullback, specifically on more than one RVOL. We're sitting at 0.8 RVOL on the month. We still have another 3 days worth, so it's high probability chance we're going to close over one relative volume, which means that this is going to be a relatively high volume month into an all-time high. We're expecting that pullback. As a matter of fact, it's about 66% of the time we get a pullback, and that's on common stock. Imagine what happens from a market standpoint. We are expecting a pullback. Let me go ahead and show you what happened back in 2020 when we broke out. I showed it actually on the Qs here. But we can look at it on SPY first. If we look at SPY back in 2020 when we broke out into all-time highs, which, by the way, nobody thought was going to happen, and it did, so isn't that convenient? We broke out into all-time highs. We ran for a few sessions, and then we pulled back. Obviously, long-term uptrend was still intact, but this was a challenging environment to trade through, especially if you were a bull because you didn't know if maybe this was a double top. Now we know in hindsight that it wasn't. We also know that this time is probably not going to be either. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be easy. We do think there's going to be a pullback. We do think it's probably going to be lower than the previous all-time high to undercut it, to bait shorts in, to build this narrative of a double top before it continues to ramp up into new highs. This is a normal market mechanism. We see it play over time and time again, not only in common stocks and companies, but also indexes and ETFs. If we go to the Qs really quick, we can see the same sort of price action. I've been talking through this with the guys here because we're building a plan on how we want to attack this particular idea if it does play out. But I do think the Qs are going to pull back and potentially undercut 400. It's a logical place to suck in liquidity from bears, people that think the market is about to flip over, roll over, new bear market, etc. Statistically, that is a losing idea. But instead of us rushing to short everything, what we're going to do is we're playing aggressive defense right now, and we want to try to buy somewhere down here. We're not going to try to time the bottom. We obviously want to catch it on the way back up. But as soon as we see momentum slowing and whatever drawdown eventually happens, which I'll show you why I think is going to happen in a second, we're going to try to deploy a bunch of capital, specifically in higher beta names. Now, we're looking at things like semiconductors. This is a frothy part of the market at all-time highs, parabolic move. You know, generally on the backside of a parabolic move, you get a parabolic drop, if you will. You get a huge cutoff. Look at no further than some of the crypto miners and crypto names in general. Mara, huge move, and then a big pullback, but the primary uptrend is still intact. Higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low. Doesn't mean that it's an easy trade, but the primary uptrend is still intact, and that's part of the allure of trading the front side of these parabolic moves. You can make a bunch of money, and then the guys that are professional short sellers come in on the backside and try to make a bunch of money, and everybody else is caught in between, you know, with their head between their legs, kissing their own ass, saying a couple Hail Marys that their accounts don't blow up. This is completely normal market behavior, and we're expecting it to play out again in the Qs. The higher beta names, such as the semiconductor names, are probably going to be hit the most. I mean, software and semis, higher beta names that have really taken off in the last few weeks in this parabolic move to the upside, I think are going to get hit the most, but then continue their uptrend. So I wouldn't be surprised to see AMD come back and retest 150 before bouncing into new highs. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nvidia come down and retest maybe all the way down at 500. It seems like it's impossible, but remember, if the indexes come back underneath their previous all-time highs, people are going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off, screaming that the world is about to end. And for anybody with a couple brain cells, we know that when people are screaming that the world is about to end, you generally want to take the other side of the trade. Be a contrarian there. Don't just buy the dip indiscriminately, but definitely look at some potential short to intermediate term trend reversals and start buying those higher beta market leading stocks that will probably end up leading through the end of 2024. So let's talk about this really quick. Yes, there might be a pullback. We're expecting a pullback. We kind of want a pullback. We're taking profits today, as a matter of fact. I'll show those in a second. We want that, and we're going to take advantage of it. But I still want to point out here, this is a great chart by Nautilus Research on Twitter. The 2024 presidential, or the fourth year within the 2024 presidential cycle, is incredibly bullish overall. So we're continuing to maintain our bullish thesis the entire year, and we're going to take this potential February drawdown as an opportunity to get into stocks that have been leading so far in Q1 and will probably continue to lead through the end of Q4 of 2024. We're going to take it, if it happens, as an opportunity to really size in. It's a gift. So I want you to look at 2024 and extrapolate that out to 2025 and then into the mid-election year, where typically strength starts to wane off a little bit. But these are going to be two really good years, statistically speaking, going back all the way to 1949, by the way. This data goes back very, very far. So 2024 looks fantastic. But in the short term, I want to point out Mr. Jeffrey Hirsch himself. This is the guy that now writes the Stock Traders Almanac. He has pointed out since 2003, over the last 20 years, February is the weakest of the 6-month Goldilocks zone from October through March. It's generally February that shows the greatest weakness out of those 6 months. And so I'm extrapolating this out. If we know 2024 is going to be bullish, but February is generally the weakest within that 6-month Goldilocks zone, and we're starting to see indexes potentially lose some momentum to the upside, and it's logical that we're going to have a pullback into previous all-time highs. It's all kind of coming together, at least for me, that we're probably going to be looking at some sort of, I don't want to say correction. I don't know if it's going to be a 10% move by definition, but I definitely think it's going to scare the shit out of a lot of people. And I absolutely think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. I really do. I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. I wouldn't be surprised to see this come down 4, 5, 6%, end of the world scenario type stuff. And we're going to be looking to buying. Once again, we're going to be trying to get into those higher beta names somewhere off of the floor. Might not time it exactly perfect, but that's not the goal. The goal is to try to catch the momentum back to the upside in towards the end of Q4. So that's the goal, right? I mean, we're taking some profits right now. Let me go ahead and show you some of this stuff really quick because it is kind of fun to look at. Let's see if I can get the Discord stuff up here really quick. But just to show you guys that we really do trade the ideas that we put on here. You know, we have Amazon up 102. We're starting to turn those free right now, so that's a completely free trade. Builder up nearly 400%. We have Meta up 403%. We have this Meta up 300% for 30 grand. I mean, we're actually trading the names that we talk about in here all the time. We have a Allstate insurance name up 275. AMD's up 523. You can see that we're trading the names that we talk about on this channel all the time. We just hold them for a lot longer than what most people do. And that's our greatest edge in the market. We buy strong stocks and uptrends and we wait. Generally, the primary trend takes them away. Obviously, we add in relative strength to find the market leaders. At least we get as close as we can. And that's the whole goal. Buy stuff at logical spots that turn into or are exhibiting market leader characteristics. Fuck what everybody says, because most people are really fucking stupid, and enjoy the ride. That's the whole idea there. Right, guys? So that's my goal for the next, 1 to 4 weeks. Buy the pullback. Don't buy it indiscriminately. Pick and choose your spots. Try to find the best possible areas that you can and deploy some capital. Guys, my name is Hamilton. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to me rant about this. Hopefully you guys make a couple bucks off of this idea. If we do end up pulling back, don't run for the hills. Look at it as an opportunity. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you in the next one.